Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. My name is Amanda Schaefer. My presentation today is how to teach you how to crochet a dish scrubby. I know that this may seem kind of untraditional considering my profession as a nurse, and eventually I would like to be a nurse practitioner and SANE nurse in the emergency room. And that is a nurse that does the evaluations after a rape or a sexual assault. However, the reason why crocheting has been so important in my life and why I feel like it is one of the biggest aspects of my life to share is through the years of having kids and having struggles and trying to go to school full time and working as a nurse full time and being a mother. I had to find something that I could do to really relax myself. And so I started to crochet. So I'd like to share that gift a little bit with you guys. I tend to try to do something quick and easy, such as like the dish scrubbies, because they're convenient. They're really, really awesome to have. And also it's very relaxing to do. So the first thing, you want to make sure that you have crochet hooks. Obviously, if you've never crocheted, this probably doesn't make a lot of sense to you, so I'll do my best. But your crochet hooks have all different sizes. And for this particular one, I like to use the 6.5. The different types of crochet hooks will have the different sizes, and some of them do letters instead. So I think that the 6.5 is typically also a letter G, just depending on the hook that you're using. You also need to make sure that you have a darning needle to use at the end, which is super important because you'll have to weave in all of these little ends when you're done. Let's get started. So you also want to make sure that you use the right yarn. So this yarn is specifically for scrubbies. This is a little bit of a rougher one. It gives you a pretty rough sponge. And then this one's a little bit softer. And as you can see, it's a Scrubby brand yarn. And this one's really good for if you want like a face sponge or a dish sponge. It could be used as both. So we're going to start off by taking that off. And depending on the different types of yarn will depend on where your end is. Some yarns it's in the middle. This particular one it's not. It's kind of on the edge. So I'm just going to wrap this around my finger to do a slip knot. Again, I'd love to do a basic crochet project, but I decided to go with this. This way, if you guys can share my joy of a quick and easy project and why it's so relaxing. So I'm going to do 2 loops right there, and then I'm going to do what's called a magic circle. So I wrap my yarn around, and I'm going to go through that top hole right there. Then I'm going to come through and bring it all through all 3 of those. Okay, so that's what's called a magic circle. And then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go into that little hole. I know it's pretty hard to see, and I'm going to do 1. I'm going to do a total of 6. So that's 2, and that's 3, and that's 4, and 5, and then 6. And then I'm going to join that to the other end. So now a really important part of the sponge is, in order to get it nice and flat like this, you need to increase each row. If you stop increasing, then it kind of turns, and that's actually how you get like a hat. But this we want to be more flat. So now I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to do a double crochet or a half double crochet into one of those holes. So that's 1. And now I'm going to do it a second time in that same hole, and that's what's called increasing. And so then that's 2. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to increase, and then again 2 in this hole. So 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 again, and then So I want to make sure I do it 2 in each one. This way it's a nice and even circle. This yarn in particular is a little bit forgiving. So if you miss something, it tends to work out okay. And then I'm going to join my 2 ends right there like that. So that is the start of my circle. So obviously that's pretty small though. You wouldn't be able to use that to really clean any dishes or anything. So I'm going to chain 2 again. And again, you want to make sure you're increasing. This way it turns out okay. So there's 1. And then I'm going to do 2 in that. And so now I'm increasing in every other one. So I'm doing 1 in one hole, and then in the next hole, I'm going to do 2. So the biggest part for me is I've actually even used these to sell back in the day around Christmas time or things like that if I needed some extra money when I was going to school. And I've taught my children all how to do this. And they've actually sold them at garage sales and different stuff. So there's my other round of doing every other with an increase. So now I'm going to join it like that. And I'm going to chain 2 again. And now that first hole right there, I'm going to do 1 in. And then I'm going to go to the second one and do just 1 stitch in there. And now I'm going to do 1, 2 in that third one. Again, I'm just increasing each row, and I'm increasing the number that I skip in between the increases. And that's what's going to give me that nice round look. But because I'm still increasing, it makes it so that, you can tell it's curling up a little bit. But if I were to not be increasing each round, it would be curling up a lot more. And so you want it to be a nice flat product. And so we're gonna do that. And it's super fun and super relaxing. It enables you to kind of take care of yourself a little bit because you're making something. I love to give them to people. It's super fun. So now I'm going to take the end. I'm just going to break it because it's pretty easy to do with this yarn. And then I just pull it through the hole. So now I have my nice sponge. Now the darning needles that I was saying that you need are right here. So we're going to take this out. So if I leave this like this, obviously it doesn't look very good. And if I just cut it, then the whole sponge will unravel. And I like them to be able to go in the dishwasher for germs, especially right now with COVID and everything. It's really important that we're able to keep stuff really clean. And these can be used, like I said, on your face. You can make them big and square. You can use them for dishes. And I actually just put